Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 6th, and the start of a new weekly reading vlog. So to pick up where I last left off at the end of wrapping up the last reading vlog, I'm about 200 pages into Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, and also about 375 pages into The Hero of Ages. So these are obviously going to be my physical priorities for the week. These are going to take a while. As I said at the end of the last vlog, I don't normally read 2 physical books at one time, but I was just, but as I was hanging out last weekend, I really felt like starting this one for some reason, and so I just did. So it'll take me a while to get through both of these. So those will be my physical priorities for the week. I forgot to mention at the end of my last reading vlog that I have started the audiobook of Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and I'm about 1/5 of the way through that, so I'm not very far. So I don't want to talk too much about that one yet, but I forgot to mention that. But I am listening to the audiobook of Uprooted. Once I finish the audiobook of Uprooted, I think I have a bunch of stuff that's come through on Libby, and so those are going to be my next priority, just to make sure I can actually get to them. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to finish Uprooted, and then I have The Woman in Cabin 10, The Lion Game, both by Ruth Ware, waiting, and then I also have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern on audio, ready to go on Libby. So So those are going to be my next audiobooks. I'm certainly not going to get to all of those this week by any means, but those are going to be the next things that I have to get to make sure I can listen to them in time. And I need to return the Ruth Ware books first. So I will probably, once I finish Uprooted, hopefully I can finish Uprooted at some point this week and start the next audiobook. And I'm probably going to do The Woman in Cabin 10 just because I think that one needs to be returned slightly before The Lion Game. So I'm probably going to do that one next and just see how far I can get. So yeah, I'll check in later this week to let you know how all that's going. Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 13th, and I finally have a chance to check back in. So I have a lot to check in on. So I first of all listened to, I think it was like 3/4 of Uprooted on audio. I think I'm going to try this one again physically. The audiobook wasn't my favorite. It was still going alright for most of it, and eventually I just decided that I would try it physically. So, so Uprooted follows a community in kind of or around a cursed forest. Every 10 years this guy will essentially take one woman from this community that I think is like 17-ish, and will kind of take her to his castle for 10 years and then go take another person. And his role is to kind of help fight the forest. So as I said, the forest is cursed, and so his job is to kind of help fight or kind of keep the forest under control, essentially. Our main character is the person who is taken from her community and lives with this guy for a while, and she starts getting trained in magic. So he starts training her in magic, but he's also just incredibly abusive. And I was struggling for particularly the first quarter of the book, with kind of just the setup and following her thought process through what was going on, because she's essentially kidnapped and taken against her will to go live with someone she doesn't want to live with, and she just ends up making a lot of excuses for him, making excuses for his abusive behavior, and it's just so hard to read and so hard to listen to, and that's very prevalent, particularly in the first quarter of the book. And that was something that, as I said, was just really hard. I don't know how it's going to be to reread that physically if I get back to this one physically, because that was rough. Kind of the rest of the story, or at least the rest of the story that I finished, focused more on kind of the cursed forest and things going on with the forest and people who have been cursed that need to be saved essentially, and you know, kind of the curse taken out of their body. And as I said, our main character is being trained while she's with this person who kidnapped her. She's being trained, he's training her in different types of magic and you know, trying to see what she has an affinity for. Turns out she has an affinity for particular kinds of magic and can actually help him kind of help contain part of the forest and kind of help you know, take the curse out of their body if they have encountered the curse in the forest. So I was into that part a lot more, but there still was just something that wasn't quite clicking with the audiobook, so I'm just gonna try it physically and see if that helps, or see if that, you know, if that book is something that I can really enjoy despite rough going for the first quarter trying to be in her head. So anyway, so I tried that one, didn't quite work, didn't quite finish it, but I did finish a couple of other books. One is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, and this one was a lot more fun. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I had heard a lot of mixed things about this one, and you know, I wasn't quite sure if I would enjoy it. I kind of described the synopsis in my last vlog too once I started it, but I'll give kind of a quick synopsis. So this one follows three main characters, Aless, Sabine, and Bastion. And Aless and Sabine are set to be bone criers, or they're trying to be bone criers. They're part of this family of bone criers, and bone criers are a group who can essentially ferry the dead into the afterlife, and in order to have this power, have this ability, and prove yourself to the gods that you're worthy of this ability, part of the price is that you need to kill your one true love. And so Aless is kind of set to go through this ritual where she lures her one true love to this bridge so that she can kill him and kind of finish that rite of passage and then become a farrier. Bastion is the person who she meets on this bridge, and he's there because Bone Crier's killed his father. Two of his friends are in a similar situation, and so he wants revenge. So that ritual doesn't quite go as planned, and Sabine is there. Sabine is her friend, and Sabine is there to kind of help her through this ritual. And so Aless is ultimately kidnapped by Bastion, and Sabine is trying to find her, and Aless is trying to figure out how she can escape, and you know, how she can complete the ritual, how she can become a bone crier. Sabine also, she's kind of reluctant, a bit more reluctant than Aless is, to be a bone crier, to kind of go through this ritual, but and to kind of, you can get powers by killing certain animals in a ritualistic way and taking part of their bones to kind of give you the power of that animal. And so that's part of also what gives these bone criers their power. And Sabine has been reluctant to kind of collect these bones, and she, you know, is trying to ultimately decides that she needs to kind of get some more of these powers so that she can help save her friend. So you kind of follow those three characters. I honestly had, as I said, a lot more fun with this one than I thought I would. I didn't really particularly care about the romantic elements of this one, which I think I feel like I say that in pretty much every book with a romance element. I'm like, nah, not buying it, not buying it. But like, I didn't particularly care about the romantic elements of this one, but just the atmosphere was fun, the world was fun, just the magic was a lot of fun, and just trying to figure out more and go around this world was a lot of fun. Aless was, I think I mentioned this in the last vlog, Aless was a little bit much to deal with sometimes, but she was a fun character. Sabine was great. Bastion was an interesting character. There's definitely a lot of just like angsty drama that sometimes would make me roll my eyes, but the world and the atmosphere was super fun, and I just had a good time reading it. I also finished listening to The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, and this one follows Lo as our main character. She is a travel writer, and Lo has a key break in her career when her boss is about to go on maternity leave, and so she gets an opportunity to go on a trip that her boss was supposed to go on. It's the maiden voyage of this cruise ship. It's a very small one, and it's called Aurora Borealis, and it kind of focuses on kind of traveling around the North Sea and going to see the Aurora Borealis, going to see the Northern Lights. And this is a maiden voyage, so they're kind of different travel writers, media people, investors, to kind of kick off the maiden voyage of this ship. And the first night that she's there, Lo thinks that she hears someone being thrown off board and kind of sees some blood, like smeared blood prints in the cabin next to her as she's going out kind of onto her deck, kind of looking at the windows to the cabin next to her. She sees some like bloody smears, and she calls the security team and is trying to figure out what's going on. And by the time the security team gets there, the blood is cleaned up. There's nothing left in this room. There's no evidence that anyone was ever in this room. And the security officer tells her that that room was supposed to be occupied by someone, but is actually empty. No one's staying there. So she's trying to track down, and she sees a woman. Earlier on, she had actually knocked on the door of that cabin, and someone had answered, and she had borrowed something from a woman who was in that cabin. And so Lo was convinced that this woman might be the person who was thrown overboard, and so she's concerned, and she's trying to track down this woman and trying to figure out what was going on. And it kind of goes from there. And it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. I love Ruth Ware's audiobooks. Imogen Church, as I've said, every time I listen to a Ruth Ware book, is just phenomenal, and I love her narration. And it's just fun. I don't know. I always have such a good time listening to Ruth Ware's audiobooks, and I just cannot stop listening once I start. I just, they're always pretty slow books that very, very slowly ratchet up the tension of what's going on. And I don't know, I just think she does that build really, really, really well in basically all of her books. Like, all of her books kind of have similar vibes, a similar pace, kind of a similar build up throughout all of them. And I don't know, they just work for me. So I had a really fun time listening to that. That was the rest of what I read this week, and I also continued a little bit more, but not a ton more, in the Hero of Ages. So I think I'm on page 425 of the Hero of Ages. So I'm currently listening to the last Ruth Ware book that I have on her backlist to listen to, and that is The Lying Game. And then I'm physically reading Hero of Ages. So that's what's going on right now. Yeah, fun reading week overall. Had a great time. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books and how your reading week went, and be sure to subscribe for more bookish content. I'll be sure to link my Twitter and Instagram down below. That's where I like to hang out, and I'll leave more resources for how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.